Hey, Wellness Warriors, Antoinette here, host of New Normal Big Life. The moment you've been waiting for is live. New Normal Big Life 2025, Grit-Fueled Wellness Revolution. The official companion ebook to our biggest, boldest season yet is out now, and it's 100% free. This isn't some fluffy recap, it's a battle plan. Every game-changing guest quote, every pro tip and wellness warrior takeaway, plus brand new science and step-by-step action plans that turn what you heard on the podcast into real results in your body, mind, and life. 3 powerhouse chapters, 41 episodes distilled, 0 medical gatekeeping, all actionable grit. Claim your free copy right now in less than 20 seconds. Subscribe at nnbl.blog. When you grab the ebook, you also unlock weekly expert drops straight to your inbox in 2026, first access to new episodes, exclusive brand new behind-the-scenes warrior updates from me. 2025 proved you're done being dismissed. 2026 is your year to rise stronger, clearer, and unstoppable. Download your free copy now at nnbl.blog. If you've already subscribed, your copy is on the way to your inbox. Let's make 2026 the year medicine catches up to you. See you inside the book and on the next episode.
We did insulin tracking with a glucose monitor. We did daily exercise, strength training for legs. We did hydrogen water. And we then, because nothing worked, and we did placenta stem cells in Mexico at $20,000 a pop. And I remember thinking, I may have to mortgage the house. Miracles come in the most unexpected packages and the most unexpected places. She said, I have a friend, her daughter has gone from kindergarten to upper 4th grade. She was basically has autism. And she has improved dramatically. She's gone from being very aggressive and hostile. And in just a month and a half, it's just been remarkable. So she said, apparently this activates and elevates your own body's master foundational cells.
Hi friends, welcome to the New Normal Big Life podcast. We're bringing you natural and integrative health information and stories about nature that we hope will inspire you to get outside and adventure, along with a step-by-step plan to help you practice what you've learned, create your own new normal, and live the biggest life you can dream. I'm your host, Antoinette Lee, the Wellness Warrior. Let's get into today's topic. Imagine this. You wake up every morning bursting with energy. Your mind is razor sharp. Your body moves without pain. You look in the mirror and you see fewer lines staring back at you. And all of it happens without drugs, needles, creams, or crazy diets. Sounds too good to be true, right? But what if I told you that I know of over 700 real people, busy executives, athletes, grandparents, skeptical doctors, even me, have already done exactly that, using a tiny patented patch that uses your own light to turn back your biological clock. Meet my guest, Darlene Green. Darlene offers modern solutions to timeless health challenges. She's helped more than 700 people restore their vitality at the cellular level and reclaim their energy to pursue their biggest dreams. She's built a foundational team of health ambassadors who share her mission to serve, uplift, and transform lives, because when the body heals, everything else becomes possible. Darlene Green is a retired Navy commander with over 26 years of experience in executive leadership and senior management across diverse industries. Today, she'll tell you about her family's incredible health journey and the patented wearable light technology that reflects back your own light to make change in your body. This process is called photobiomodulation. This light therapy patch, this patented phototherapy patch, stimulates your body's own regenerative cells in a completely safe, non-invasive, non-transdermal, and cost-effective way. So you'll feel better, you'll look better, regardless of age, and be active, sleep better, stay sharp, and experience less pain and faster wound healing, and reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Foundational cells can transform into almost any cell needed to repair and generate damaged cells, such as blood cells, skin cells, and liver cells. So, wearing a small patch every day will naturally reactivate your body's ability to create foundational cells that build and repair your aging, demanded, stressed, or inflamed cells. Simply place a patch on one of your body's acupressure points for 12 hours, then remove it for 12 hours. Repeat every day for 90 days and get back to a younger, healthier state of being. So let's dive into today's topic with Darlene Green. Darlene Green, welcome to New Normal Big Life.
Thank you, Antoinette. It's such an honor to be with you.
You are actually only my second veteran, and I'm so excited to be able to talk to a fellow veteran.
Well, I want to thank you for your service. I think it takes having provided that service to understand the sacrifices of those services. So I thank you for that. I will tell you, I'm in a service-related family. My dad did 30 years in the Air Force. My husband did 30 years in the Navy. I have two daughters. One went to the Naval Academy, one went to the Air Force Academy. Two sons from my husband, and both were Marines. And one then became, after getting out of the Marines, got his GI Bill, got his degree in aviation, and became a Navy pilot. So one time at Thanksgiving, we had 14 of us sitting around a table at a restaurant, and they gave a military discount. And we literally said 12 of us have served. And the only people that hadn't were my sister and my mom. It was really quite amazing.
That's pretty incredible. Well, talk about a legacy of service. Thank you so much for your service and all the family members that you have currently serving and who have served.
Thank you.
So let's get into today's topic. I'm very excited about this because one of the things that I love to look for are non-invasive ways that we can boost our own innate ability to heal ourselves. So tell us a little bit about your journey, because what I find is that most of the people who are solving problems for others, they're doing it from a place of, I wish I had this when I was going through something. So tell us about your story.
Boy, you hit that on the head for me. I will tell you that I started my health journey outside of traditional Western medicine way back in 1996. So I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, and then I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I, stepped out and into Chinese medicine and holistic medicine, functional medicine, integrative therapists. And that was, food, exercise, meditation, supplements, like all of that. And that was helpful. Certainly not entirely resolving any issues, but at the time that I started this serious journey into my husband's healthcare provisions, I had 5 autoimmune disorders. So was always working towards better health for myself. Then love of my life, best friend, partner, best husband, best man I know on the planet ever. My husband, Jim, was diagnosed with early Alzheimer's at age 64. And this was a whole new episode of health diving into what can we do? And, there's a lot of misnomers. A lot of people are diagnosed with Alzheimer's and they don't actually have Alzheimer's. They have mold toxicity, or, there's just things, right? So we tried all of these things. We did mold toxicity. We did a hyperbaric chamber. We did ozone therapy. We did pulse electronic frequency mats. We did microcurrent. We did osteopathic treatments. I don't even have to tell you, we cleaned up our diet, but literally super clean, no alcohol, no soda, no seed oils, no sugar, no white flour, nothing that was ever genetically modified, grass-fed, grass-finished. I mean, you name it. We did this for years. This was not like a month. We did this for years. We did the Dr. Bredesen protocol for Alzheimer's. We did insulin tracking with a glucose monitor. We did daily exercise, strength training for legs. We did hydrogen water. And we then, because nothing worked, we went out of country 4 times, and we did placenta stem cells in Mexico at $20,000 a pop for him. And because we were there, I'm like, I'm doing it for me too, because I'm still trying to get well. And taking care of someone is hard. So we did this 4 times. And I remember thinking, I may have to mortgage the house. This is so expensive. And all of the functional medicine care is so expensive because you're not getting it paid by insurance, right? There's no drug that helps Alzheimer's anyway. So it wasn't like I was missing out on anything, but I do want to pause and push the button on that for a second. And I'm not probably telling you anything you don't know, but the third leading cause of death per year is actual medical errors. And the fourth leading cause is adverse drug reactions. So when we think about pharmaceuticals, we often, a lot of people live in that world. That's all they know. Pharmaceuticals or surgery, because our doctors are trained in medical schools that the curriculum is founded by pharmaceutical companies. So this is what they know. So you really do have to step out to get into all of these alternative care therapies. And I'll share with you that in the time that I was providing for Jim, I had 4 different doctors say to me, Darlene, you really need to take care of yourself in this journey. And I said, well, I'm doing the meditation, I'm doing walks, I'm in therapy. And they're like, yeah, but you don't understand the impact of this stress. It is big. And it is apparently, when 4 of them, I'm like, okay, well, what are you talking about? And they said 50% of the time, the caregiver dies first, right?
That happened to my parents.
Yes, and so I want to point that out to say that, we often wear chronic stress as a badge of honor. And I would encourage anybody that's out there being a care provider to just get rid of that notion right now. So I will share with you that, miracles come in the most unexpected packages and the most unexpected places. And I had the benefit of having my hairdresser of all places, who knew I'd gone out of country 4 times because we're scheduling around my visits, right? She said, I have a friend, her daughter has gone from kindergarten to upper 3rd, 4th grade. She was basically has autism. And she has improved dramatically. She's gone from being like very aggressive and hostile and not easy to calm and sweet and loving. And in just a month and a half, it's just been remarkable. So she said, apparently, this activates and elevates your own body's master foundational cells. Now, I'm going to call it master foundational cells for all of your audience that's in the United States. For anybody that's outside of the United States, and I think you do have an international audience, they're stem cells, but the FDA has locked down who can actually use those words because it's a drug. Apparently, they call it a drug, even though they're natural and in your body. And what a lot of people don't know is that, when you're 30, half of them are dormant. And when you're 60, they're almost all dormant. There's very few actively working. And people need to understand that your stem cells, even though that's what made you, that's what put you, first 2 cells that came together, they did all this incredible work. They really, they kind of are big in the news right now anyway, but we're not talking about somebody else's stem cells and what I'm about to talk about, like when I got IVs and injections. We know that stem cells reduce inflammation. We know that they also trigger the death of old cells. They differentiate and they can become brain, heart, lungs, kidney. They can self-replicate. So this was the holy grail for me. This is what I was like, okay, this is the most important thing I can do, which is why we went out of country 4 times to get them. But that was, again, very expensive, very painful. And we had 0 improvements after that. So when I will share with you that when my hairdresser said they had this friend, she's doing this thing, it's activating and elevating those. My belief was like almost zero. But you know what? I had nothing to lose. I had everything to gain. It only needs to work for one person. And she said, well, there's all these studies. There's apparently a lot of science behind it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Especially when I found out you could get a month's supply of this light therapy patch for $99. I'm like, I'm in, right? After 20, I'm so in. So we began to patch, and I'll describe the patch in a little bit, but first let me just tell you what we experienced. Before patching, at the time we started patching, my husband, Jim, was really not himself anymore. He was a couple of years, like they're almost 3 years into the journey of Alzheimer's. He was taking 3.5-hour naps. He was no longer talking and engaging in conversation. He would, if he did, he asked the same question 7 times in 2 minutes. He was no longer trying to be funny. And this was his personality. So it was very hard to see him this alternate personality, right? Just not a zombie. Things he couldn't whistle, he couldn't drum. He was constantly a whistler. By the way, he was like a magnetic, magical whistler. Like he just brought every song you could hear just to life in the house all the time. So when we began to patch him, in the first week, Antoinette, he did not take that 3.5-hour nap that he had taken for a year. He took no nap. He was very engaging and talkative. Now, he did not get the right words necessarily. He had aphasia, so sometimes, but he was actively talking and communicating. He was not asking the same question 7 times in 2 minutes. Like, that was huge for me. And he was back to trying to be funny. Like he was back to trying to funny and his flirty personality. So I got him, the essence of him back in a week. Over time, he could whistle again, he could drum again. His sense of smell, which he had lost 20 years before, that's actually an early warning indicator for Alzheimer's. For people who don't know that, they're actually kind of testing smell now earlier, not related to a virus of any kind, but just because. So it's a really important signal. And the fact that it came back after 5 months of patching was really remarkable. He had a cyst that was the size of a large marble that disappeared. His hair grew back. It came in darker. His bald spot started to close up. And I was really hopeful. I was so excited about the possibility of, could this really reverse the symptoms and his disease. And in the end, I will share with you, it did not reverse it. And he did pass away this past March. I know that I got a longer quality of life with him because I had him, the essence of him, almost to the end. And I got to see what happens when you stop patching. So most of the time, we only get to see the benefit of what's happening when we do begin patching. But when I stopped patching him, because I put him on hospice, we stopped everything, which was a very hard decision. This was me kind of like throwing in the towel. And as a military veteran, you know how hard it is for us to stop the fight. And ultimately, I was honoring his wishes. It was no longer a kind and merciful state for him to live in. And the kids, everybody was like, Mom, it's time. It's time. So he was throwing the football in the backyard, not very well, but we would do that. I stopped patching him, and a week later, he could not feed himself. He could not eat. Like 1 week without the patches, the decline was so dramatic. I'll tell you, I had to struggle with that and sit with that a little bit because I knew I'd caused that because I had stopped patching him. But in the end, it was the most merciful approach. So I have had a very rare glimpse into a journey with the patches. Now there are people who have had their brain scans completely cleared. There are people who have had different outcomes that had the same thing my husband had, which is why I had hope, right? Because I'd heard a lot of testimonials, and we have a really cool brain study that shows before patching, 3 weeks after patching, and then 6 weeks after patching. And it is so phenomenal because you can see in the EEG before the red, the inflammation, all of what looks like hypercoherence, where the brain is not communicating from the left and right hemispheres. And that's what PTSD looks like. That's what ADHD looks like. That's what anger and all of these bad things that are infecting brain fog, all of these things, that's what it looks like, this inflammation in the brain. And 3 weeks with this one patch, you can see the color mapping change, the difference change, and you can see the reduction in inflammation. And then 6 weeks later, it's a whole new color map. And what they found in this double-blind placebo-controlled study on the brain is it elevated copper peptide. I want to talk about copper peptide in a minute because who's ever heard of that? If you have, you're way ahead of the game, but we'll talk about it, GHKCU. And it supported cell and nerve regeneration in the brain and throughout the body. It improved the nervous system and lowered anxiety, and it decreased brain inflammation. It actually improved memory, focus, and cognition. And in fact, the more complex the task, the more improved the actual improvement. So it was really wonderful to see the improvement in him so quickly right out of the gate. But I want to share with you my testimony too, because, and I want to hear yours as well. So I'll give mine, and then I want to jump to you because this is not a new product for you. And so for me, having had, 26 years, actually, yeah, probably 26 years or more of autoimmune and migraines, and I've had PTSD. I mean, at the time we began to patch, I also had missed the last 3 steps of our staircase, just multitasking on my phone, right? Just thought I was at the bottom and wasn't, and hit so hard I broke my foot, sprained my ankle. And this was at a time where my husband couldn't get me a glass of water. So I was now care providing for someone who really couldn't do anything on their own. And it immediately took away many of my coping mechanisms, my morning walk, my ability to play pickleball, my social world, like a lot of the things that were really helping me kind of survive this care providing journey disappeared. So I had, I'm sure, was clinically depressed, and I was in a lot of pain, and I had, was working on all parts of my health. So day one, I got out of pain with our pain relief patches, and it was so dramatic, Antoinette, that I didn't believe it. I just, I still was having trouble wrapping my head. I didn't really know anything about energy. I really didn't know anything. I just couldn't believe it. So here I am now out of pain. And my mind goes, well, it's the fact that it's just been 5 months of pain and I'm finally out of it. It's just the day it's just coincidence. But you wear the patches 12 hours on, you take them off after 12 hours. And so I peeled them off and crawled in bed. And within 5 minutes, my ankle was just throbbing in pain. And I'm like, okay, it's the patches for sure. I get it. It's the patches. But what also happened was, I had been diagnosed with POTS, or postural orthostatic tachycardia, way back 17 years before. They had prescribed a medicine called fluorocortisol to raise my blood pressure. Boy, if anything sounds like a bad idea, that does. And God knows what all the side effects are of that. And I tried to say, well, I don't really want to do that. What are the alternatives? Well, really, there are no alternatives. I mean, we do compression socks and eat a lot of salt, but not really. And so I was having to take this medicine to keep upright, or I was grounded 2 weeks in the military from driving. I couldn't go to work while they figured out, okay, yeah, your blood pressure is just so low. Well, from the moment I started patching that first week, I never needed to take that medicine again, ever. And I will share with you, I think that is because in a different study, they actually did a test of the cardiovascular system, and it's a double-blind placebo-controlled study. And wearing this one patch, 6 weeks, the cardiovascular system begins functioning as if it's 8 weeks younger. And we know that copper peptide, that GHKCU, which this patch elevates, it helps to form new blood vessels and promote proper circulation. It prevents the blood from clotting too much, and it restores integrity to vessel walls. And I just think it revamped my entire cardiovascular system. So in me, almost immediately, I'm not passing out anymore. I don't need this medicine anymore. And within about 3 weeks, my mood is lighter. I'm not feeling sad anymore. I know I was the person who would have migraines that would take me to the emergency room. I'd be throwing up the whole way there, right? So I had migraine medicine in every purse, in every car, in every room of the house. This is how I didn't go anywhere without it. And I just don't have those anymore. And so I don't even know where that medicine is anymore. And that was 35 years of those. So really, and then there's improved energy. One of the funniest things is I was in the kitchen that first week and I'm cooking up a storm. And I will tell you, I hated cooking. I still am not a big fan of cooking, but I had to, because you don't get food that's healthy into your husband or yourself without seed oils, or you just can't get it out. I mean, they're a rare restaurant that doesn't use seed oils or uses grass-fed, grass-finished, or organic. So I was having to cook, didn't like it, but I was in the kitchen cooking up a storm going, why I hated cooking so much. This isn't so bad. But in fact, it was, I had energy. Like I had energy at the end of the day. So I had way more energy. We both got dramatically improved sleep. And I want to speak on sleep for a second, because most of the world is shy of actually good quality sleep. And so I even took a class on sleep. And it was, so we had red lights, just like in the Navy, actually. We had red lights in our bathroom. We had the room really cool. We had a chili pad on the bed. We didn't eat 3 hours before bedtime. We got our eyes on the morning sun. I mean, we did all the things. His deep sleep was measured at 15 minutes after all of that. So I was really discouraged, because that's when the brain cleanses itself, and the fluids reverse and go the other direction. We can start getting all the toxins out. No, 15 minutes. And so in his second week of patching, his deep sleep was an hour and 20 minutes. And I was just like, my deep sleep was also better. I had so much new hair growth that I looked like a baby chick. I had like just sprouts, like kind of like you see here. I kind of always am in a perpetual state of new hair growth, but yeah, so really, really fun results for me too. So over to you. Let me hear about you, Antoinette.
Well, this is so exciting because we have so many parallels. And like you, I was feeling like I have tried everything. I had been on 20 different medications for various issues. If you've listened to the podcast, I have a laundry list of health challenges that I manage naturally. Today I'm not on any medications, but I was suffering from chronic inflammation, chronic fatigue, a lupus-like immune disorder, and chronic migraines. And so I had 3 medications just for migraine alone, and I was still getting migraines and having to use a service dog because of it, because not only did I get traditional migraines where you have just headache pain, but I also got ocular migraines, and I would get them back to back. So some people would have an ocular migraine for like 5 minutes and they might not be able to see at all, or will have low vision. I would get ocular migraines back to back for sometimes up to 24 hours. So what that meant for me is, out of my right eye, I had zero vision. It is if I had stared into a bright white light and I couldn't see it all. Out of my left eye, I only saw shapes and colors. So after being stranded while driving a few times, I think 2 times, after the second time, I realized I probably can't drive until I get this under control. And I had to get a service dog. Along with my other healthcare challenges, I had to get a full-time caregiver. So when I came to using patches, I was at the end of my rope, and I was looking up whether or not red light therapy could help me. And then I came across the red light patch and thought, well, I will try this. Let's give it a try. Immediately, within weeks, I don't even think it was actually a full 2 weeks, less than 10 days, I went back to my doctor for a appointment that had already been scheduled before I began patching. And my inflammation markers were lower by 20%. And of course, my doctor wanted to know what I was doing. And I shared with him what I was doing. And he said, keep doing it because it's working. So that's the first thing. I've also not had a migraine in almost 8 months while patching. So I have seen dramatic benefits for myself. And then my guy, who did 2 combat tours, kicking indoors in Iraq with the Marine Corps, had difficulty sleeping. He was not getting restorative sleep. He started patching, and now he's sleeping. So I can't say enough about the patch. I am a believer. I've been giving it away as gifts. I've been giving it to family members who have aches and pains and all kinds of challenges as they're getting older, and they are amazed at how quickly they feel results.
I love your story. And, I'm sorry for how hard your journey has been. And I'm sorry for all that you've endured. And I know some of the sacrifices that you made in the military and a lot of that lifestyle contributed to that. I think we just can't ever thank our service members enough for that. And it's so silly for me to say proud of you because I'm not your mother or anything, but as a friend, I'm just so happy that you have found alternative cares approaches that are making such a positive difference. And I think that they really can. I think so many people think we're locked into drugs, and every drug has very significant negative side effects. So I will share with you regarding pain. I have a gal that I patched. Her name is Lindsay. She's 74. And you're talking about sharing it with people and gifting it to people. And this is a significant part of my journey because, your heart breaks when the best friend you have and your partner and the love of your life is dying. And it's a grief journey. That it's a death of 1,000 cuts, right? It's not just like they die. They die a little every day, right? They die, the person that you have been with is no longer, they are standing in front of you physically, but they're not the same person. And only somebody who's been on the Alzheimer's or dementia journey really gets that. And only a care provider really gets how exhausting care providing can be. But I had this 74-year-old woman, Lindsay, who was in so much pain. And a lot of our veterans are in so much pain like this. On a scale of 1 to, I always ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain number? And she said 14. And I said, Lindsay, how long has it been like that? And she said, years. I said, how are you living like that? And I mean, most of us would be in the ER, right? That's just impossible. And she said, I'm barely living. And I said, well, let's get you patched up. So we put 3 different kinds of patches on her. So we put the Master Foundational elevating patch on her. We did an anti-inflammation patch, which I will talk about later. That is my second favorite patch. It is phenomenal. It was the most popular patch before the one that elevates your master foundational cells came out. And since inflammation eats up master foundational cells, it's a really powerful twofold punch when you can lower that inflammation while you're elevating those foundational cells. So we did those 2. And then we did a full body patching, which is 2 sets of the pain relief patches. We dropped her pain from a 14 to 0 in 1 minute. 1 minute, Antoinette. And she was teary, right? Because she just couldn't believe it. She's just like, a week later, I talk with her and also with the guy that had introduced the 2 of us. And I'm like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And she said, I am so great. She said, it is not an understatement for me to say to you, and you have saved my life.
That's incredible. You probably, in addition to saving her life, you've given her life back, because when you're in that much pain, and I know from experience, you're not living, you're just surviving.
Right.
And you probably have taken her from surviving to thriving.
Exactly. And her kids were crying. She was out and about. She was going to concerts with them and playing with grandkids. And it was just really, really amazing.
Quick heads up, wellness warriors. I don't let just anyone into this mic time. The only sponsors I ever bring on are products that I plan to use, personally use, swear by, and that have legitimately moved the needle on my health and my family's. No fluff, no fillers, no junk. So if you're serious about leveling up your energy, sleep, recovery, skin, whatever your goal is, do not bounce early. Stay to the very end of this episode. I'm dropping some of my absolute ride or die brands and exactly how they've helped me feel unstoppable. These aren't random ads. They're tools I stake my name on. You'll thank me later. Keep it locked. We're going all the way to the finish line together. Before we cover the next topic in this episode, I want to introduce you to the adventure sports lifestyle with a story about an adventure that I've had. The adventure sports lifestyle and my deep connection to nature is essential to my good health. So here's the story. About 7 years ago, I was on a whitewater kayaking and camping trip with more than 50 veterans and their family members, and I met a guy. His name is Matt. You may have heard me mention him throughout this podcast. And yesterday, Matt took me on a cross country skiing trip. It was a beautiful winter day here in the Midwestern Northwoods in the United States. The trees were covered in snow. It looked like a winter wonderland. And as we skied throughout our forest and homestead, we went down our little bunny slope. And at the end of it, we paused at a location where we usually launch our boats when we're going downriver in our kayaks. He took off his skis, got down on one knee in 2 feet of snow. And I didn't see this coming. I was completely confused by what was happening. And then he pulled out a beautiful box. And when he opened the box, there was a light shining down on this beautiful ring. And he said, Antoinette Lee, would you become Antoinette Barafato? And I've always made fun of women that would just go blank and start to cry and scream and just kind of lose it when they're proposed to, until it happened to me. So my mind went completely blank. And then when I realized, oh, I need to provide an answer, I screamed, yes. And my voice echoed across the river, bounced off of an island and back at us so loud that I probably scared all the animals in the forest. And I got engaged yesterday. So this emerald ring, oops, there we go. This emerald ring is significant to us because I'm Nigerian and Irish, and Matthew is Italian and Irish. And we both love the outdoors. We met outdoors down by the river, and we're both veterans, and we love the color green. So having an emerald flanked by two diamonds, if you're listening to the podcast, it's an emerald cut ring. And just having this green as a symbol of our devotion and our promise to each other means a lot to me. And I'm so excited to share this great news with you. So I hope this inspires you to get outside in an adventure and maybe find your Matt or Matilda and go off and live a beautiful life connected to nature together. Now back to the episode.
And I'll tell you one other story. So I had like my mom, my dad, my sister. Initially, it was just all about my family and my friends and my cousin and my uncle and my aunt, right? All of these people. But over time, it's sort of hard to not share this when you see miracle after miracle after miracle. And I want your audience to understand this isn't always overnight. It takes time. We say a month for every decade you are old. You need to give it that long to reactivate those master foundational cells. It is doing more than that. Like it's even resetting 4,200 genes to their younger, healthier state within the first 24 hours. So it does a lot of things. But I will tell you about a friend of mine, Vicky. Bless her heart. She had an open oozing wound on her neck for 10 years, not months, 10 years, open oozing wound. Gross, right? It was very embarrassing. They had done a year of antibiotics, a year of steroids. Like they had tried everything Western medicine could throw at it. And then she now had an infection in her inside of her mouth where she had necrosis in her gum line. Her lymph nodes were swollen. She had an abscess, an infected abscess. And they basically were saying this: we need to cut out these bottom, I think it was 2 or 3 teeth. We need to cut out your jawbone. it's going to collapse your face, but we'll try to restructure it and we'll try to, keep you from being too disfigured. And she just said, Darlene, I'm too vain. I just said no. Like I just said no, no, no. I mean, I don't, that is not an option. So we started patching her with a few patches. And in 3 months, the open oozing wound sealed up. The necrosis disappeared. The gum line was healthy. The abscess was gone. No need for, just cleared up. And so she cries every time she sees me because she just says, you just don't understand how embarrassing this was to have this in my life. I mean, it's like, it affects your self-esteem. It affects how you feel about yourself. And so, I mean, there are just a ton of these kinds of examples of people that are in my life, like right here in my life. And I found that as much as the patches did for my health, patching other people was salve to my soul in a way that, I was able to take like the silver lining of this health journey that we've been on with Jim and use it to help other people and kind of take the focus off of woe is me. How can I help others? So, that gift of service, I think we're not meant to live exhausted. We're really not. We're not meant to live in quiet suffering. And so many people are. We're really meant to shine and we're meant to serve and we're meant to feel fully alive. And I just believe that investing in your health, it's not a luxury. It's actually the down payment on every dream you ever dared to have. And I know, I actually can't remember. I listened to a lot of your podcasts. I love your podcast. I connect with like everybody that you've had on. But there was the guy that wrote about all the muscle work, and he was all about learning to work out and how important the muscle strength training is because of sarcopenia. I mean, anybody after 60, this is your number one cause of death is falls. So really, he's not wrong. And that muscle strength is critical. His point was, you either do it by choice or you're going to have to do it not because of choice. It's just going to happen. Something's going to happen to you. You're going to have to. So, and I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's Tim Ward. He's the author of The Goat Within. And that's a very powerful episode. Everyone of every age should definitely listen to that episode. So, one of the things that I was thinking about when you were talking is that a lot of people, myself included, even though I come from a medical background, I trusted that my doctors would find the answers. And it stopped me from also looking for answers because I trusted the system to help me.
Yeah.
And I wasted a lot of time not finding my own answers. If I could go back in time and do this all over again, I would say I wasted 2 decades of being sick, being too sick to fully enjoy my life, to fully realize my dreams by not discovering answers for myself. And so one of the benefits and beauties of a podcast like New Normal Big Life and experts like you is that we get to tell people that in addition to what you are trying with your medical team now, there are other non-invasive, non-prescription options that you can also try. And it just might be the thing that puts you over the line to go from just surviving, just making it another day, to thriving and living your best life. And when you're done, or not when you're done, but when you are starting to feel better, you can start thinking of what will my new normal be like after I've done this whole journey of getting back to good health. Because I think I already said this in the beginning, or maybe it was when we were getting ready to start this interview, I said that health is wealth. It doesn't matter how much money you have if you don't have your health. It's like not having anything. It's not like it's as if you don't have a home or food or water or safety, you don't have anything.
That's right. I totally agree with you. I will say I have been a little encouraged in that Like I join a call on Sundays, every Sunday with, I don't know, there's at least 15 or 20 medical practitioners, neurologists, cardiologists, pediatricians, dentists, pharmacists. In fact, there's a famous Dr. Adam Shiner. He is one of the plastic surgeons to the stars. And he is someone who speaks on the power of these of light therapy and these patches. He requires his patients to start on this master foundational activation patch 3 months prior to surgery with him and stay on it at least 6 months. If you want to be a patient of his, you have to patch. And there was an anesthesiologist, Dr. Joseph Peck, who was a 40-year physician, and he said something that I will never forget. He said, this patch, which I'm showing for those of you watching, it's like the size of a quarter. It's tiny. This patch is the most significant medical breakthrough in my lifetime. Now that's an anesthesiologist saying that. So it's significant. And I will share with you that one of the things I love about this patch is that it's so safe, right? There's nothing going in the skin. I could have it on the outside of my clothing and it's still going to work. So for autistic children, I love that I can stick it on the back of their back on the shirt and it's still light is going through. No contraindications with any medicines. It's basically working the way when we go outside in the sun and our body makes vitamin D or melanin, the light signals our skin and it says, activate all that's necessary in the body to make melanin or all that's necessary in the body to make vitamin D. Well, you have light inside of you. And if you were to look at with night vision goggles on, we would see light. And that light, we basically use this patch like a little reflective mirror, reflecting your light back into you at a specific wavelength. And different patches have different lattice structures reflecting back in different wavelengths. And that's why they do different things. They elevate, the major patch, the one that we would like everybody to wear, is elevating that copper peptide. And the others elevate other peptides or other things that are different. And I want to pause a moment and speak to copper peptide, because you can Google G, and I'll tell you one other story. So I had like my mom, my dad, my sister. Initially, it was just all about my family and my friends and my cousin and my uncle and my aunt, right? All of these people. But over time, it's sort of hard to not share this when you see miracle after miracle after miracle. And I want your audience to understand this isn't always overnight. It takes time. We say a month for every decade you are old. You need to give it that long to reactivate those master foundational cells. It is doing more than that. Like it's even resetting 4,200 genes to their younger, healthier state within the first 24 hours. So it does a lot of things. But I will tell you about a friend of mine, Vicky. Bless her heart. She had an open oozing wound on her neck for 10 years, not months, 10 years, open oozing wound. Gross, right? It was very embarrassing. They had done a year of antibiotics, a year of steroids. Like they had tried everything Western medicine could throw at it. And then she now had an infection inside of her mouth where she had necrosis in her gum line. Her lymph nodes were swollen. She had an abscess, an infected abscess. And they basically were saying this: we need to cut out these bottom, I think it was 2 or 3 teeth. We need to cut out your jawbone. It's going to collapse your face, but we'll try to restructure it and we'll try to, keep you from being too disfigured. And she just said, Darlene, I'm too vain. I just said no. I just said no. I mean, that is not an option. So we started patching her with a few patches. And in 3 months, the open oozing wound sealed up. The necrosis. GHKCU in and of itself is very powerful, and anybody can Google that and study that. I had a doctor I listened to talk about how she did injections for GHKCU peptide. And she said, but what she found is that one patch, one day, was more elevation of copper peptide than 4 injections of the peptide in a day. So, I mean, and we want our body to be doing the work, right? This isn't the patch that is actually fixing you. It's your body's innate wisdom knowing what to do and how to heal itself. Your body is so magnificent. And we tend to rely on doctors who are kind of playing a little bit like God. Like, I am, I'm going to diagnose you. Well, who cares about a diagnosis? A lot of people don't fit properly in a diagnosis, and the doctors don't really know what to do with them. And so they just kind of have to for insurance purposes, right? So your body doesn't care what they think it is or what the insurance needs, or, it just knows what to do. And so by elevating this peptide, which this particular patch does, it changes your body's ability to heal. It optimizes your body's ability to work at its best. And whether that's at the mitochondrial level of this, I mean, if you think about it, almost all disease is inflammation and it's cellular dysfunction. So when you can get the body working back again at the cellular level, it's really, really powerful. And that includes detoxing, which this does. It actually, this master foundational cell patch elevates your body's glutathione. And glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. And glutathione, there are books written about glutathione. There are people who are just like glutathione experts. It was something that I was getting in an IV form and taking orally as we rolled into the pandemic, because it boosts your immune system. I had 5 autoimmune disorders, right? You don't think I was a little nervous going into the pandemic? Because I was like, oh gosh, I know my immune system isn't strong enough to handle this. So an IV, which was the best way I knew to get it, elevated my glutathione levels by 27% for a half-life of 7 minutes. Wow, right? And I paid a lot of money for that IV. And this one patch that we're talking about that elevates copper peptide, that elevates your glutathione levels 30%, and it stays there all day long. So people who live the longest in the world, they have the highest levels of glutathione.
Darlene, thank you so much for all the work that you've done to help others, both during your service and as a veteran. I so appreciate you. I feel like I met a sister in arms, and
we'll be friends forever.
Friend. Yeah, exactly.
I feel that way too. Please stay connected. I love your podcast. I'll keep listening, and I just appreciate your journey, your resilience, your grit, and the love and the gift you're giving the world through your podcast, and the truth that you're giving to the world. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for keep pressing, even when you're not feeling well, even when you're going through your own journey. Just blessings to you and your loved ones. And thank you.
Thank you. I received that, and blessings back to you, my sister. I will include all of the links and ways to contact Darlene in the show description. And I so hope that you will take advantage of this opportunity to find real help. All right, wellness warriors, this is Antoinette Lee, your Ride or Die host, signing off for now, but I'm not letting you disappear on me. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, I'm pouring virtual coffee in the cabin on X Spaces, formerly Twitter, and I'm saving a seat just for you. We laugh, we argue, we unpack the latest episode, and we tackle whatever fire is burning in your world right now. No gatekeeping, no fake niceness, just real talk with real people wanting to connect and who are done being dismissed by the sick care system. Join us at 10 a.m. Central, 8 Pacific, 9 Mountain, 11 Eastern. The X-Space link drops every Tuesday, so turn on notifications for NNBL blog right now so you never miss it. Raise your hand to jump on the mic, listen in the shadows, or just sip coffee with us. Every single option is welcome. I can't wait to hear your voice in the cabin. See you Wednesday, Wellness Warriors. Don't keep me waiting.
Magnesium, an unsung hero, fuels over 300 bodily reactions, from heart health to stress relief. Magnesium expert Natalie Girardo, founder of Rooted In, found freedom from anxiety, insomnia, and pain through topical magnesium. It transformed my life, she says, inspiring her mission to share this mineral's power. Cardiologist Dr. Jack Wolfson calls magnesium essential for heart health, helping regulate rhythms, blood sugar, and reduce inflammation. Up to 80% of people may be deficient, facing issues like depression, migraines, insomnia, or muscle cramps. For women over 40, magnesium eases menopause symptoms, boosts energy, and supports bones. Choosing the correct type of magnesium matters. Real stories, Natalie's and mine, highlight its impact. After interviewing magnesium expert Natalie Girado, I became a customer. I was already a magnesium fan, having been told by 2 cardiologists to take magnesium for a minor heart arrhythmia. Natalie explains it best in the Magnesium, the Mineral Transforming Lives episode of New Normal Big Life podcast. Fast forward after the interview, I bought the Rooted In bundle for sleep, tranquility, and pain relief. As a spine injury survivor with several other health challenges, I'm in constant pain. However, I don't take any pain medication. Rooted In is now one more source that nature provided to give our bodies what it needs when it needs it. You can find magnesium in natural bodies of water like lakes and rivers and in soil. But modern farming practices have stripped magnesium out of the soil and our food. That's why today, Rooted In's rest, relief, and tranquility are part of our afternoon and nightly sleep routine. My guy who did 2 tours kicking indoors in Iraq with the Marines now has no trouble falling asleep. I no longer have to take melatonin before bedtime to fall asleep. So after I became a customer and saw how well these products worked, I applied to become an affiliate. I've been sharing the secrets of Rooted In with friends and family from age 38 to 68, and everyone has gotten amazing results within minutes of applying the cream. Do something naturally good for yourself. Get Rooted In. Click my affiliate link in the episode description to shop now. When you're planning an adventure camping, rafting, RVing, or mountaineering, you'll need quality food with sufficient vitamins, minerals, and nutrients to fuel your adventure. My partner, Ready Hour, is here to help you ahead of time. Ready Hour has a long history of providing calorie-rich, reliable, and delicious nourishment for life's unexpected situations and adventures. They're part of a family of companies that have served millions of people like you for decades. My family and I use Ready Hour products for camping, mountaineering, and disaster preparedness for 5 years now. They're not just reliable, they're also your affordable option too. Long-term storable food shouldn't break the bank. That's why they have great sales and payment options for you. It's your bridge to safety and survival when you're on an adventure. So make your next decision your smartest decision. Be ready for adventure tomorrow, today. Trust Ready Hour. Ready to shop? Use my affiliate link in the show description.
The information in this podcast is not medical advice and should not be treated as such. Always consult your physician or healthcare professional before pursuing any health-related procedure or activity.